Assalamu alaikum dear students, hope you all are fine and will take my lecture in a good health. Well, let's start our today's lecture with the previous background. Yesterday we talked about the nature and the style of stylistics, or what are the main components of our study in stylistics. Today we are moving forward with another topic in the name of historical development and nature of stylistics. So, the main contents of our today's lecture contains the nature of stylistics and its historical developmental stages. What is the nature of stylistics? Well, stylistics is the combination of two words, very simple. The very first morpheme in this regard is style, that means the perception of a new thing, and aesthetics, that means a scientific, calculated and systematic study. So, while combining the both morphemes with each other, the term stylistics is derived from the word style, which has a meaning that means the way someone says something in some way. So, the meaning is the manner of writing, of speaking and doing something. It is the mean through which human beings contact with each other. However, style in literature is called literary stylistics. So, according to Halliday, linguistic stylistics is the description of literary texts by methods derived from general linguistic theory using the categories of the description of language as a whole. It is an interdisciplinary branch between literature and linguistics, which identifies the linguistic nature of literary style as well as non-literary style. In English, the noun stylistics is found as early as 1864. So, stylistics is first attested in 1882 or in between 1882 to 83. In French, the first example of stylistique is from 1872 when Litter included the word in his dictionary. For the same time, Charles Bailey emphasized the expressive value of language and so conceived of a law stylistic as a study of the effective content of the verbal structures that constitute the system. So, it means every language has a system. So, finding out the system in terms of a style of using the words in some pattern becomes stylistics. Bailey, however, excluded literary style from the domain of law stylistic on the grounds that the proper material for the study of communication were spontaneous expressions. That means whatever we communicate, that is spontaneous. So, it is excluded from the literary stylistics, whereas the words of the artist are more consciously chosen. So, those are the styles which we can explore. So, what are the steps we have taken in the development of this one subject that is named as under the heading of historical development in stylistics? The major stylistic thinkers who have made contribution to stylistics are none other than Aristotle in the 4th century BC, who has introduced the language use in the form of the focus on figures of speech and persuasive language, through which we analyze the speech in terms of the effective use of language. He said it in his book Rhetorical Style. So, it means that all the languages in the world would have some figures for developing some meaning inside it. That is a philosophical debate. Next, we have another one linguist in the field that is named under the Russian formalism Roman, that is Roman Jakobson. Victor as well there in the concept of literariness and defamiliarization, emphasis on formal devices. So, Jakobson has done his studies on selected writings that develops the art as technique. So, it means writing something becomes an art. Structuralism, another movement. Number 3, the development in the form of structuralism, that was the work of Prague school of thought, is also the work of Roman Jakobson. Structural approach to language functions, the stylistic function of language in the form of linguistics and poetics. They define the use of language for aesthetic function or for aesthetic genre. British stylistic Geoffrey Leach, which we have discussed yesterday as well as in terms of the definition of stylistics, and Roger Fowler in 1960 to 1970 integrated the works of linguistics and literary analysis in the form of grammatical semantic level of the words. So, the major work of Geoffrey Leach is dependent on the semantic meaning and the grammatical features of the language. The book he wrote was the Linguistic Guide to the Language. Cognitive stylistics was given by Stockwell, which presents the focus on cognitive processes in interpretation and reader response. So, cognitive poetics, semino, metaphor in discourse, and all these things, that means the main book of his work was Metaphor in Discourse. Digital or multi-modal discourse or stylistics was given by Lambro, that presents the incorporates the digital tool, multimodal text and Cooper's linguistics that worked on narrative progression. He also presented stylistics as the theories and analysis. Systemic functional linguistics, very well known one linguist, Michael Halliday, in 1960s introduced systematic functional linguistics, who focused on language cohesion in English, or who also says that language as a social semiotic order. So, it means language is the system that works out with the signs and the symbols, but in terms of communication. Modern linguistics is definitely provided by Noam Chomsky, none other name comes to our mind. The book he wrote was Syntactic Structures in 1957. He developed the generative grammar influencing linguistic approaches to stylistics. He is not directly introducing stylistics, but his work is applied to define syntactic stylistics. These all were there who have contributed in the upgradation of the subject of stylistics. One more name, that is none other than Ferdinand de Saussure, whose work is definitely named under the structural movement, and we call him a structuralist for the reason that he provided the signs and symbols. We have just talked about the multimodal stylistic analysis, that means extracting the features of a text that would not only based on the words, but also they need to define that what are the different pictures, what are the different signs or symbols are present in some language and how the audience perceives it. These all are provided, or the meanings are provided through the Saussurian school of structuralism. These all linguists have done their work indirectly into the field of stylistics, but the major thinkers which we read or which we are known are Geoffrey Leach, Fowler, and for sure Halliday, for the reason that Geoffrey Leach provided the debate of meaning in terms of figurative use of language for its stylistic implicatures to be developed. For Halliday, that what lies behind our conversations and how do we get the meanings in between the two persons other than that what they are saying. And for sure, Saussure, that means that we consider the meaning of someone's talk or someone's conversatory content through the use of language and the whole background and the things we watch in front of it. So, it means graphological and graphetics are two levels in stylistics that brings the study of Saussurian under the debate of stylistics. These are just the few names I have discussed today. There are many more who have contributed for stylistics. You may explore it by watching it through different web notes, by watching different videos on YouTube, and for sure, ChatGPT and AI tools are always there for your help. Well, do explore that what more information is given on the media and for sure in the prescribed books as given by me to you, so that you may prepare a tabular form of the information in a chronological order to remember that what are the things that made your today's study for its debate. Thank you so much for your patience for your today's lecture. Take it as a background for all your upcoming lectures. Till your next lecture, stay blessed. Have a nice day.